I used to believe there were lines I would never cross. Not because I was better than anyone else, but because I loved my best friend too much to ever hurt her that way. Because some things were sacred. Because some doors, once opened, never closed again. And yet, here I am telling you this story. It started innocently. That's the lie everyone tells, but in this case, it's true. Emily and I had been best friends since college. We grew up together in every way that mattered. Breakups, bad jobs, late-night confessions over cheap wine. When she married Daniel, I stood beside her in a pale blue dress, holding her bouquet while she cried happy tears, and whispered, "I can't believe this is my life." I believed it too. They were the couple everyone envied. Stable, comfortable, predictable in the best way. Daniel was kind, attentive, and easy to talk to. The kind of man who remembered details and followed through. The kind of man you felt safe around. I told myself that's all it was. Safety. When Emily had their first baby, everything changed. Not suddenly, but quietly. She was exhausted, overwhelmed, in love with her new role, but stretched thin in every direction. Our coffee dates became rare. Our long talks turned into rushed voice notes sent between feedings and naps. I started spending more time at their house, helping where I could. Cooking, folding laundry, holding the baby while Emily showered. Daniel was always there too. At first, our conversations were practical. Who was picking up diapers, what time the pediatrician appointment was, whether the baby had finally slept through the night. Then they became personal. Emily went back to work earlier than planned. I stayed late one evening to help with dinner. The baby was finally asleep, the house quiet in a way it hadn't been for months. Daniel poured 2 glasses of wine. "Emily doesn't drink much anymore," he said, almost apologetically. I should have said no. Instead, I smiled and took the glass. We talked about everything except the thing that mattered. About work, about how strange it felt when life didn't turn out exactly how you imagined, but still turned out okay. "I don't think people talk enough about how lonely marriage can be," he said quietly. I remember the way his words landed, not as a confession, but as an invitation. I didn't answer right away. I stared at my glass, watching the light catch the surface. "I know what you mean," I said finally. That was the first moment, not the first touch, not the first look, the first moment I didn't shut it down. After that, something shifted. Nothing obvious, nothing anyone else would notice, just a little more eye contact, a little less distance, conversations that lasted longer than they needed to. I told myself I was being paranoid, that closeness didn't automatically mean danger, but my body knew before my mind admitted it. The tension built slowly, like pressure behind a wall. Every laugh lingered too long, every accidental brush of hands felt deliberate, every shared silence carried something heavy and unspoken. One afternoon, Emily called to say she'd be late, work emergency. "Stay," Daniel said. "I'll order food." I should have gone home. Instead, I stayed. We ate on the couch, plates balanced on our knees. The TV played something neither of us was watching. The baby monitor glowed softly on the table. At some point, he reached for my plate, and our fingers touched. Neither of us moved away. I remember thinking, this is it. This is the moment where I decide who I am. And I didn't stop it. He looked at me, not with surprise, not with hesitation, but with recognition, like we had both arrived at the same place without saying a word. "This is wrong," I whispered. "I know," he said. That should have been the end. Instead, it was the beginning. We didn't kiss right away. That almost makes it worse. We sat there, close enough to feel each other's breath, suspended in a moment that felt unreal. Then he leaned in. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't rushed. It was quiet and devastating and gentle in a way that broke something open inside me. Afterward, I went home and cried in the shower, convinced I could wash it away. I told myself it would never happen again. I told myself that was enough. I was wrong. The affair didn't explode into existence. It seeped into the cracks of our lives. Stolen moments, lingering conversations, messages that crossed lines and pretended they hadn't. We never talked about love. That was another lie we told ourselves, as if avoiding the word made everything else acceptable. Emily trusted me completely. She would tell me how lucky she felt to have me around, how grateful she was that Daniel had someone to talk to while she adjusted to motherhood. Every time she smiled at me, something twisted in my chest. The guilt was constant, but so was the pull. I hated myself for how alive I felt, for how seen I felt, for how easily I justified it by telling myself I was already too deep. It ended the way these things usually do. Not with a grand revelation, not with screaming or shattered glasses, with exhaustion. One night, Daniel looked at me and said, "We can't keep doing this." I nodded, even though it felt like losing something vital. Emily never found out, at least not in words, but something changed. She became distant, quieter around me. Maybe she sensed it. Maybe I changed in ways I couldn't hide. Eventually, I stopped coming by as often. Life moved on, as it always does. But some nights, when everything is quiet, I think about that version of myself, the woman who believed she would never cross that line. And I wonder if she would recognize me now. Because the truth is, the worst part isn't that I betrayed my best friend. It's that, in the moment when it mattered most, I didn't stop it.